A new generation of trainers stands at the foot of a mountain. Up at the peak sits the thrones of 4 kings. 2 thrones sit empty, and at their feet is a wave of veteran trainers aiming for greater heights. Who will come out on top? Find out now on the Weekly RemARC!
Hello everybody, this is Dan here covering for Dozer, and this is the Weekly RemARC, where I'll be taking you through this last week in ARC history. With the first week of the cycle done, all participating trainers have been moved up to Youngster. Only time will tell who will rise higher as we move onward, so keep climbing. You can track your current standing in the Hierarchy tab of the ARC Hub. We've also begun tracking Dark Match participation on the IV Points tab, showing how many Dark Matches you've completed so far this cycle. Like other records in the tab, a blue highlight will indicate a current record holder, while a red highlight will denote a record that has been tied or beaten. Previous block or cycle records will be shown in the first row. Next, a reminder, especially to those new to ARC. Any Pokémon, moves, clauses, and or items that change tiers or legality will not take effect in ARC until 1. The change is officially announced and implemented in Smogon, 2. Any suspect test involving the change are completed, and 3. The next fight card is posted. In other words, if a change is announced after a fight card has been posted, it will not come into effect until the next fight card. On to this last week's matches. For the first time in ARC history, we opened this cycle with a World Championship match. Venge successfully retained his title and extended his current reign to 18 weeks with 6 title defenses. He now awaits the conclusion of the #1 contender tourney to see who he faces next. That is, unless another title shot is cashed in sooner. This week continues the IC Contender Championship, moving into the semi-finals. It's good to see newcomers step into the ring for the first time, and now it's time to see if Hashok and Mugen have what it takes to take on a couple of veterans. The #1 contender tourney moves into round 2, where last week's losers have one more chance to prove themselves, or be eliminated. In the winner's bracket we have 2 arcades facing off in Psy vs. Otto, and perhaps one of ARC's most heated rivalries in Abrant vs. Sments. Though Abrant has yet to beat Sments, he is still very confident. Our newest battlers got their first taste last week in the IC tourney facing each other. This ended with Hashok and Mugen taking out Huang and Pierre respectively. Now we see if Huang and Pierre will be able to take home their first wins this week. One of them may be facing Venge, however, which will be a real trial by fire. Last week's battle breakdown had a #1 contender tournament in Psy beating Reggie in doubles BS. Sments beating Choose in singles underused, Abrant beating Shiny in singles monotype, and Otto beating Dan, myself, in singles little cup. For the IC contender tourney, we had Hashok beating Huang in singles underused, Firegem beating Vendetta in singles underused, Mugen beating Pierre in singles overused, and Yui beating DJ in a forfeit as DJ has seceded from ARC. And then finally the world titleship match, Venge bringing home a 2-0 versus Max in singles Ubers. With only 1 week completed, the hierarchy is still anyone's game. Win those matches. As far as tier shifts go, there's only one this week, with Kingler being banned from PU. In the game corner, this week saw 3 perfect game corners with Dozer, Evo, and Sments all getting their 14 points and 12 IVs. Abrant, Firegem, Hashok, Otto, and Mugen all came in a close second with 12 points, only missing their 2-point picks. And a 3rd place shout out to Vendetta with 11 points, also only missing 1 pick, their 3-pointer. All around this week's game corner was rather good, and also the first of the new game corner with 4 picks. Make sure to tune in to our economy later this week for more game corner stats. For IVs this week we have Max leading with 148, followed by Abrant at 121, Choose at 110, Yui at 86, and finally Firegem at 73. While there may not be any records to talk about this week, do remember that you can also earn records by playing dark matches. Records like most battles on a cycle, most dark points, and most IVs earned can be achieved just by playing a high volume of matches. Then there are more skill or luck-based records like highest win percentage or longest winning streak. And that wraps up this week's RemARC. I'll be back later this week with Imprison, and Dozer will be back next week. So until then, fight well, trainers.